Namaskar and good evening. We welcome you to today's episode on Artist Showcase of Showcase Studio by Showcase Events. Today's episode is interestingly special again. Today is what we call a celebrity episode. Honestly, I think every single artist is a celebrity. Every single artist. It's the talent that makes them a celebrity. But today's sibling duo is very, very special. I'm exceptionally fond of them. So I would love to just call them the celebrity sibling duo. So the artists for today are Bindu and Ambi Subramaniam. I don't even have to speak too much about them because I'm sure everybody knows a lot about them. However, allow me to share just two lines about both. Bindu Subramaniam, described by GQ as one of the most influential young Indians, is a singer, songwriter, educator, and co founder at SAPA. Ambi Subramaniam, hailed as the new king of Indian violin, is a violinist, composer, and co founder of SAPA. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I bring them up on stage, I would like to share with you all their latest production. It's a beautiful one, and I definitely want everybody to hear it. Here we go.
Shenandoah, I long to see you away, rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away. I'm bound away across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away. I'm bound away across the wide Missouri. 'Tis so long years since last I've seen you, and hear your rolling river. 'Tis 7 long years since last I've seen you. Away, we're bound away across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away. I'm bound away across the wide.
So there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we have for you my favorite sibling duo, celebrity couple, as I would love to call them. And that's Bindu Subramaniam and Ambi Subramaniam.
Thank you so much for
Thanks.
having us.
Thanks
So
so much.
welcome to Artist Showcase. And I think right now our echo cancellation is checked off, so that's why I'm echoing on your side. But I'm actually going to leave the stage to you all to, share a lot more about your music. This was a beautiful song that you guys we just showed the audience. And again, folk music has its own power. So this is like the American folk song. So you can tell, and the kind of feeling that you both brought into it was just excellent. So we'd love to hear a little bit from you before I exit the stage and I leave the stage to you.
So, this song was kind of something that was exciting for us to do because it's part of the Sapa in School syllabus. And for us, our aim at Sapa in Schools has sort of been to give children access to all different styles of music. And so for us, it was really kind of interesting to say, okay, let's take a song that's in the curriculum that the kids are singing and sort of make it our own way.
Absolutely, and it was kind of fun for us as well to look at a whole bunch of different things. We also had Shrika, who is one of our awesome Sapa in Schools vocal teachers, as well on this. And also we tried to make this kind of like a orchestral and symphonic kind of production. So while it is an American folk song and it's been played so many times and sung so many times, we tried to kind of bring a slightly different feel to it.
It is. The treatment is it's beautiful. The treatment is soft. It's melodic, and of course we're going to talk a lot about Sapa because I do want everybody to know more about it. And I was reading up about it. It's 2007 that you set it up, and there's some beautiful pieces that you've done with the students of Sapa as well, some compositions which of course you've shared. And so I'm going to leave it to you both now to take this for the next 10-15 minutes. I'm going to leave the stage to you both to basically give us a lot more music, and then I'm going to come in between. Is that okay?
We're going to miss you, but we'll see what we can do for the next few
No,
minutes.
I'm sure the audience doesn't want to hear me or see me. Like everybody wants to see you guys. So I'm going to sit backstage. I Give me a nudge when you want me to come back, and then we take the conversation forward.
Perfect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Shall we do a piece and then we'll call you back up on stage?
Sure, sure, do that, do that. I mean, I can keep popping back after each piece.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So, the first song that we'd like to do is a song that is a lot of fun for us to do on stage, whether with kids or without kids. And it's actually a Ganapati bhajan, but it's sort of a different presentation of a Ganapati bhajan, and it's called Bamma Bamma. Bam
catchy. Like that's oops, that's the problem. Now that the thing is gonna keep happening. But this was so catchy. It was so live. This is beautiful.
Oh, thanks so
Thank
much.
you so much. Ambi, do you want to say a little bit about the song and how we kind of discovered it?
Well, I don't remember how we discovered it, but but I can tell you a little bit about the song. Well, actually, it's a Marathi bhajan, and it's just something. I mean, that we when we heard the first time, it kind of instantly. It's one of those songs I think that kind of instantly hits you when you hear it, and it's actually a piece that we normally end with
Yeah.
when we do our shows because it kind of takes you somewhere and then so for us it's always like a nice feel good piece that we finish with um, yeah
And when we heard it first, it was kind of very authentically bhajan, but we decided to sort of Subramania it a little bit and have like a bass line and have so it's kind of fun to play with songs in this sense where you kind of have an interesting structure and a framework and then you figure out what would make sense or what would be fun there even though it's something that is traditionally not supposed to be there.
I think like it's one thing that's fun for us, whether it's Subramania or any of the other projects we kind of work with. We end up working with a lot of very cool musicians who are also doing extremely varied things. So, in that sense, we always kind of get very fresh and new perspectives that we may not otherwise have. So when for example, when we do Subramania, we have this incredible pianist who is in love with jazz and who does a whole bunch of other things. Our guitarist is very into the rock space.
Yeah.
Uh, our drummer does a whole bunch of things. So it's a lot of fun because when we're sitting and making music and we're sitting and rehearsing and doing all these different things, each one will come with a completely different perspective
And I think that's the case whether we're working on a song that is going to be like a recording and something that needs to be sort of fixed or whether it's on stage. So when we're writing songs like for example the Seven song, we're bringing in sort of gypsy influences and we're bringing in different song structures, but even when we're on stage and we're doing songs that we've been doing for years, there's this song that we do called Peacock, and one day I don't know what was in our piano player's head, and he was just having so much fun that he took his solo and he went all the way into the John Coltrane version of My Favorite Things. So it's really cool because in the middle of this song he just this hardcore jazz vibe goes in and it's brilliant, and then that kind of inspires everybody else to take it and go in a different direction as well. So I think it, like Ami says, it's really cool to be able to play with different musicians with different musical backgrounds, and obviously that's something we miss now since we're sitting at home so much of the time, but hopefully again soon.
yeah, you listen to them and like, okay, that's what we're doing today. All right.
Yeah, but that's what true fusion is all about. I mean, you don't have to create fusion; it just happens,
For sure,
and
for sure. And I think
that's what. Yeah.
when you have good musicians that you're working with and everyone's kind of listening to each other, then it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, and it's fantastic because in this way, look at the kind of experimentation that's happening, and it's all impromptu. So it's a different ball game altogether. So before we proceed, tell us a little bit about Sapa because okay, so Subramania happened before Sapa or after Sapa?
After Sapa, so Sapa is first.
Okay, so Sapa was 2007, right?
Yes, yes.
So
So
what was
actually,
the genesis of Sapa, and then you guys got involved, or did you guys only set it up with?
so in 2007, it was actually started by my parents. At that point,
Our parents, thank you very much. He forgets.
Yes, yes, that was an important one. Thank you, Bindu. Yes.
our parents started Sapa in 2007. At that time, actually, we had just two teachers and three students, and it was a whole different thing, I think, at that point in time. There, we kind of grew it very slowly and very organically, and the idea was to kind of create a conservatory of music, like you have a Juilliard or a St. Petersburg conservatory. I think the focus a lot was on creating that conservatory for violin. It was, I think, in the beginning, all the teachers were my dad's violin students.
Both the teachers were
Correct. All both.
Exactly. Yeah, so then, I mean, slowly that then we started doing voice as well. We started doing a bunch of different things. Both of us kind of officially took over in 2011.
2011, around Dasara time, Vijayadashmi. So actually, we just hit the 10-year mark.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
Yeah,
Are you
Yeah.
that old?
I'm not that old. Maybe. We
Speak for
started
yourself.
working very young, and we have a very strong work ethic. So I mean, and then I think what was very exciting for me at that time, for Ambi, it's like this whole global music and different things. But for me, the real excitement was that was the year that my daughter was born as well. So I was really
Oh,
looking at ways that babies could learn music, and that's something that resonates with both of us. And so this whole idea of how do we make music accessible to everybody, and when you look at accessibility, you think of affordability, yes, and that's really critical. So outreach has always been a big part of what we do, but you also look at accessibility in the sense that it should be something that anyone can appreciate. So we worked a lot with methodology of teaching classical music to babies. So we brought out the Sapa baby textbooks, where we kind of had, like, so we have artistic renditions of Tyagaraja, like baby Tyagaraja and baby Dikshita and baby Shama Shastri. We've got baby Tansen and baby Mirabai, and this whole idea of kind of making kids love classical music and understand that, you know, classical music may be thousands of years old, but if it has to go forward, it has to go forward with you. So even in our centers, we have like this timeline painted that goes all the way back to the Vedas, and then the timeline comes down in the end and it stops outside the baby room and it says you, because we want every single child to come in and realize that they're part of this Guru Shishya Parampara that goes back to the Trinity and all of that. But if classical music has to continue to live, it has to live with
that's
children.
absolutely. And they are the ones that are going to take this legacy forward. So now this is a very interesting thing that you've just mentioned, because talking about babies. So how do you do this? I mean, you know, when you've got small babies, the texts and the parents obviously that are going to be doing the stuff. So how does this happen? And we want some musical. I'm sure the audience must be hating me for being on the screen because I'm keeping them between the music and you. And but I mean, definitely share a bit, and then we can go into another piece of yours.
Sure, absolutely. So our methodology is very baby focused, and the simple thing is, if a child is not enjoying music, it's not the child's fault and it's not the music's fault, it's our fault. So how do we make music exciting? So we built a lot of methodology around it. Even something as simple as the electronic tampura it's in a stuffed animal, you know. So
Oh,
kids
all
have
right.
these, and then in our textbooks we realized also that in a lot of the cases, are the parents of these kids are first generation musicians or music learners as well, so they don't even know what to ask. So in our books we have this note to parents, and we want to create an atmosphere where it is totally okay to ask any questions and engage with music in different ways. And then from there we moved towards creating Sapa in schools in 2014, and that's the program that we now run with 30,000 children a year, teaching music to them as part of regular school education. And there it's not just classical music, but we're looking at Indian music and Western music and global music and sort of social emotional learning and interdisciplinarity. And we just kind of are on a mission to enjoy being musicians, but also try to make music a meaningful part of every child's life. And on that note, we should go into another song.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. So I'm going to sit backstage and come back after the song.
All
Perfect.
right. Since we're talking a lot about kids, let's do a piece which has them.
Which has kids.
So this piece is called Superheroes Without Capes.
In comic books and video games, superheroes fly away. Let's be real, who needs a cape? Let's get together and save the day. Bada bada sada sari sari kari. Bada bada sada sari sari kari. Don't use plastic, teach some kids. Marvel at the good you did. Don't waste food, compost too. There's so much more that you can do. Bada bada sada sari sari kari. Bada bada sada sari sari kari. So that song was called Superheroes Without Capes. And it was actually a song that, as Ambi pointed out, we wrote with and for kids because we've been working kind of in the area of sustainable development and the idea of promoting the sustainable development goals among children. So this is a song that we wrote and recorded with a few hundred school kids and made a video, and we made it part of a campaign that we were doing with the UN called the 10,000 Deeds campaign, which later became the 100,000 Deeds campaign. Yeah, do you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, actually, so this was we were kind of going into a number of schools. Um, so we wanted to make a song that we could do with them, but also teach them in say a 30-40 minute time frame. So we worked with kids of all ages, and it was good fun. I think you when you kind of work with kids, you get so much energy from them, and you kind of feed off them.
And actually, workshopping this song with them was really fun because we would break them into groups. And so it's got a konokol layer. So we're teaching some of them how to do the konokol. And then we started calling these the superhero claps. So, you've got kids who are doing the superhero claps. And then you've got kids who are doing the swara patterns. And then you've got kids who are singing the lyrics. Anyways,
Yeah,
it was a lot of
so
fun
this
for
was
us.
kind of trying to teach them a bunch of different concepts, but then kind of into one piece. So, like she was saying, there was a little bit of konokol, there was a little bit of swaras, a little bit of singing in English, there was a little bit of clapping. So, we took all of that and tried to make it into fun song.
But that must have been nice because there's so much energy in this song and the rhythm and the lyrics and the tune and everything. So obviously, and with so many kids doing it together, this must have been it's fun for the kids as well. Okay, now we move on from the kids because I think our audience is very used to hearing such intense music on this platform. Always we've got these very serious Indian classical musicians over here, and today we're just having a blast. Okay, so now moving on from there, and we moved on to Subramania because that's I think the first time when I met you all when you all came and performed at Subramania, and that was beautiful. That was amazing. Exactly like you said, it's a different energy when you hear the way the songs kept changing and the the music and everything else. So do you want to pick up a sing a piece from Subramania like out of that album, whatever you performed on stage and stuff?
Sure, we can. And I have to say the feedback that we've gotten most often when we get off stage from a Subramania gig is, why are you guys having so much fun? Like, is it like what's the deal with like? And I think that's a whole kind of that's a different vibe from your serious classical music thing that you were talking about, because that's really important as well. But with Subramania, we decided that that was going to be our space to have fun. We had very independent careers up till that point. We had both obviously played a lot with our parents, and Subramania, we decided, was just kind of this space where we would do whatever music felt honest to us at that point. So it could be African, it could be flamenco, it could be world music. We're using pop structures. Suddenly there's spoken word or plucking or any of those things. So that's kind of
Yeah, but the good thing is that your parents gave you the freedom and the independence to explore, which is fantastic because that way you could bring in a lot more music. So I'm going to go backstage because I want to hear this piece.
all right.
What
What
do
are
we
we
do?
doing? This idea of our parents giving us freedom also is something that's interesting to me, and this is something that Ambi and I actually have many conversations about, and that's this idea of legacy. And it's really cool coming from a place of having exposure and access to everything, and confronting the fact that there's a lot of privilege associated with sort of coming from a family of musicians, in that you get to interact with and meet the greatest musicians, and that's your baseline. But it's also really hard because you're assuming that everybody's at that level and everybody expects something out of you whether you're ready or not. And I think we've reached a place where we're kind of very cool and open with it, and we're kind of we've reached our happy places with this. But when I look at my daughter, who's 10 now, and she's launching her first single in a couple of weeks, and and she's a lunatic. Okay, I have to, like, I love her, but she's a lunatic, and she's very into gymnastics and acting, and music is also there. So she sings and she songwrites and she plays the violin and the piano, and then she just kind of decided that she had this very angsty 10-year-old song that she wanted to write. It's like, oh, what is the title of that song? Who I will come back to it. But we had somebody who was asking her questions, and the first question that they're asking this 10-year-old is, what does it feel like to be part of a legacy? And I was like, can we get over this? She's 10. Instead of kind of getting into that, why don't you just ask her what is fun for her? So the song is called How We Feel. The song is called How We Feel. And the whole idea about it is, even at the age of 10, sometimes you want to stand up for what you think is not right. So I think it's pretty cool. And so this idea of legacy and where we come from and where we're going is something that we sort of deal with every day.
No, that I can imagine, but you've dealt with it beautifully because I think your biggest strength over here has been your parents because they've allowed you to, you know, make your own place, and which is excellent. And
Absolutely.
that's the reason why I called you both a celebrity duo. Only for that reason, because you both have made a place for your own selves. It's not because your parents have a fantastic legacy, and you're taking that legacy forward. They've created something and you're taking it forward beautifully, but you're also independent artists that have made a name for themselves. You made a place for yourselves with your hard work and it's your effort. So that is what I appreciate, really, really appreciate. It's not just riding on the name of Dr. Subramaniam and Kavita Krishnamurti. There's lots more to Ambi and Bindu Subramaniam. That's
That's very
that's
kind of
what
you
the
to
power
say.
is. So over to you guys. Come on,
Yes.
let's have
Okay, what
one
do we
from
do?
Subramania.
Shall we do when it starts?
Sure. Okay. This is a song called When It's Dark. And it was sort of an experimentation for us because we were looking at the idea of a pop song structure, but also using the idea of a raga based melody. Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, sure. So it's in the raga Karahara Priya, which is similar to the Dorian
The
mode.
Dorian mood.
So yeah, here's When It's Dark.
This was so good. Every time I don't feel like speaking after you finished because just the violin and the voice, it's just so perfect. So perfect.
You are really kind.
It's really nice. So, Bindu, Ambi and me would just like to check your general knowledge a little bit. Are you aware that Ambi just made a song which was released on August 15th? He was part of a production. Are you aware of that song?
I heard how amazing it was, and I was so jealous that he even got a commemorative magnet. Can I say that? That I just thought that was the coolest thing because we get invited to be part of his songs very frequently, but now he really has something on his fridge to show for it for all of eternity.
Yes, it is
Okay.
on my
Awesome.
fridge.
It is, it is. It had to be. Sorry, I mean, he was part of the production. But, the most beautiful thing in the song, in the synthesis, the Indian use was that Ambi played a part of it as the Carnatic violin, and then he's immediately moved over to the fusion violin. In fact, Ravi Iyer has just joined here as well, who was our music
Oh,
composer.
hi,
Hi,
Avi.
Ravi. How are you?
And of course, there was a fabulous comment by Parag Kumani, which I shared. I mean, you'll have to go back to all the comments later. There are loads of excellent compliments coming up your way. So let's quickly get back to this. So Ambi, that was like amazing. The transitions from the Carnatic straight into the fusion piece, and then the string quartet started, right? So, would you just like to play any small piece of any of your favorite compositions, whatever's your favorite composition? It doesn't have to be from synthesis because that was just a small piece over there. And then the later part, of course, was the build up from the I to the we. But let's hear whatever's your favorite composition.
Sure. Before that, I mean, I want to say that it was really a lot of fun being a part of that, and it was really cool to see so many amazing artists, and that sense of community was really there. And I think you always bring that into whatever you do, and of course. The composition was fantastic. I really enjoyed working with Ravi Iyer again. Um, Maybe I'll play a little bit of maybe something Carnatic.
Sure. Lovely, lovely. So I'm going to take a back seat. Bindu cannot even afford to leave the screen, so she'll have to sit in the chair next to you. Fabulous. Even fabulous is like a very weak word. It was
Thank
excellent.
you.
So it's amazing. I was just seeing the time. I said, my God, we've just been chatting, and this is what happens because I never script my conversation. I hadn't planned about what I was going to talk to you about or anything. It's just like been totally whatever I've been wanting to ask, and it's just been coming out and leading it from your conversation. But before we move on to probably we'll have to do this like the last piece because our audience also must be wondering this special episode. So we said 45 minutes, but we must do last piece together with you both. But before we move on to the last one, I just want you both in your own way to leave a message for the young musicians of today, like would that one powerful message of inspiration, guidance, whatever you would like to say, because I feel that at every step everybody needs hand holding, everybody needs guidance, no matter how accomplished you are. Every little tip helps. So Bindu
Absolutely.
first.
I think the most critical thing is to work towards your goal every day, even if you're taking a very small step, just that consistent, I'm going to do a little bit every day. And also to realize that you need to build as many different skill sets as you can, because we don't know what the scene or the world is going to look like 5 years or 10 years from now. So just keep trying to figure out as many different things as you can and keep working at it very consistently. And as long as you do that and believe in yourself, I think that's the best chance that you can give yourself. And don't don't quantify yourself by external goals. Don't look at your likes and your number of shows and the amount of money that you get paid, because it has to be an internal motivation that drives you. That's my opinion here.
Yeah,
Very,
absolutely.
very important. Very, very important what you just said.
No, yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens with us as well. I mean, um, we obviously we love everything that we put out, but then sometimes you spend 6 months on a piece, you do all this, and then it gets maybe 1/10 the viewership that you do a reel, kind of, you just put the camera in front of you and you do something, and that gets a lot more viewership. But I think that, like she said, that shouldn't be the goal, because at the end of, forget end of your career, but you should even look back at what you did a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and when you look at that, you should be happy that you put it out. Of course, I mean, everything, you look at something 5 years that you did 5 years ago, and then you obviously should feel that you are better now,
Yeah.
but um, but you should still be happy that you put it out. So I think that should be the main takeaway. And for us, it's all about skill building. Like she said, you don't know what the situation is going to be in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. Uh, the pandemic kind of was a totally different time for musicians, where all of a sudden, I mean, we all know how to play our instruments or know how to sing or do all that. But then the question is, do you know how to video edit?
No, I do not.
so so for me, that was one of the primary things I had to spend time on learning. So I'm like, okay, fine, if I want to keep making music, and one thing is, of course, I mean, you want you want to engage with people who enjoy your music and all of that, but the primary point at that time also was to keep making music for your own sanity. And I think in this last year, it was a lot about that as well. Um, you want to keep making music, you want to keep doing something to keep yourself mentally active, and you want to make sure that you are kind of pushing yourself in different directions. So then all of these other skills became important. If you're doing online shows, you need to know what mic to get. You need to know how to mic your instrument. You need to know how to use StreamYard, for example.
Echo cancellation.
Yes, absolutely. And well, no,
So
there's one more thing: automatic adjust mic volume. Two things you gotta
yeah,
know.
yeah. So I think so. So one thing is your main skill, which you need to keep working on and keep trying to get better. and then also try to pick up all these different things, because also sometimes you may suddenly get an opening, suddenly get an opportunity, which you may not be able to predict. So
Yeah.
at that point, you need to have the skills to make use of that opportunity. So suddenly, if somebody says, "Okay, can you do this?" or "This concert, they need a flute player. Can you be that guy?" or suddenly you get an opportunity to arrange something for a film score, or you get anything. I mean, so at that point, you can't say, "Okay, give me 6 months. Let me work on it now, and then I'll get."
So basically, I think biggest takeaway is that be consistent in whatever you're doing, because once you've got that taken care of, I think a lot of other things then automatically can keep happening. Preparedness to absorb anything new that comes your way, which is what the pandemic has taught us all. And like Bindu, you said, next 5 years, 10 years, I think nobody knows the next 3 months. Literally, that's how life has become in the last 2 years, especially. We thought 2022 would probably be a normal year for all of us, but 2021, for example, sorry. And well, we are end of October, and this still doesn't seem to be absolute normalcy from any direction. So I think that this is fantastic takeaways, especially for all generations, to understand that views and likes is not the only thing. Create good music, create good content, spend time on your work and on your music, and dedicate yourselves. Be honest and be pure. And that's really what Artist Showcase, our platform, stands for. Really, is to bring in artists who are genuinely pure to their art forms, who are actually working towards their art forms. They may not have multi-million likes, which is not what we are going after. They may not have like 1,000 followers or 50,000 followers. That's not what we're going after. The idea is to bring out pure talent, and that's the two of you sitting in front of me. And so now, I think before we end, let's have that one last finale piece for the audience, and then we can end this evening. Yeah?
Perfect. Okay.
And then I'll
Sure.
come back on the stage again.
So our last song for this evening
It's the Devi Priya Tilana.
is the Devi Priya Tilana.
So this is a piece that our father composed in the raga Devi Priya.
almost sense a very, very proud father sitting and listening to this, the treatment of his composition. Beautiful, excellent composition, and very well treated, guys. Seriously, big, big congratulations to both of you. And we really look forward to lots and lots of more fantastic music coming from the two of you. And Bindu and Ambi, you will always be the special sibling duo for me, always.
Thank you
Thank you
so
So,
so
much.
much.
so it's been an absolute pleasure to have both of you with us today on Artist Showcase on the celebrity episode, like I say. There are loads of fantastic compliments sitting for you. You can go back to Facebook and respond to all of them, of course.
Super.
And so, a huge, huge thank you to you. Big thank you to our audience. Big thank you also to the backend Showcase events and Showcase Studio team, which is Naina and Rajshri. And Bindu Ambi, if you want to say bye to the audience, and then I'll end.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for logging in today and listening and spending this time with us. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your comments that we're able to see. It means a lot.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, of course, we can't wait for live shows to start in all its splendor. But it's a lot of fun also doing these online shows. You get to see what people are thinking. You get to see,
Real time feedback.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so really, it's wonderful to also have this. And thank you so much for tuning in.
So thank you very much, and thank you everybody. So we'll see you back here with another celebrity episode again next week. So we're going to announce that only on Monday. So follow us, and we'll let you know soon. I don't want to speak more because otherwise I'll end up leaking out everything. So until then, until next Wednesday, we'll see you back here on the same time, same platform. Until next Wednesday, take care and good night.